opening up so many restaurants, I'm kind of this, oh, he's another Sam Fox restaurant, another Sam Fox restaurant. It's not that exciting. And, and then I look at all these like independent chefs that go open up a restaurant and get all the press and they get all the accolades because it's one and they're cool and they're in the building. And so kind of that's what happened to me again in my career is I'm like the cool guy now all of a sudden in the hotel space. And so it's come full circle where I had run this big company and now I got this one hotel and everybody is like, oh, it's one-on-one and it's this and who did it and all that. And so it's kind of fun to get sort of that energy going again.
Welcome to Teague Talks. Today we're in Phoenix, Arizona at the Global Ambassador Hotel, sitting down with Sam Fox, founder of Fox Restaurant Concepts. Sam, thanks for hosting us.
My pleasure.
All right, so I gotta know, so you're a restaurant guy, and not just like one or two restaurant, like lots of restaurants. How many have you done in your life?
Yeah, I think right around 150.
Get out.
Yeah, and I've designed, written the menu, did the real estate, and sort of conceptualized every single one.
What do you like the best?
Starting from zero and nothing and an idea, whatever that idea might be. It could be a word, it could be a place, it could be a meal, it could be a conversation. Taking that, all of those things and putting it into something and basically writing a script and a play and coming up with what I think will work financially successfully and that people want to enjoy and people want to go to, but more importantly, people want to go back to.
Yeah, the little bit that I know about you so far, you seem to be sort of a triple threat. Like you can do it all, meaning you got the details, or you're very detail oriented. I can tell that. Mm-hmm. You like the design.
Yep.
And then you also have the business acumen behind it.
Yeah.
And most people, if you get all that, you can be very successful.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Most people don't.
Yeah. Early in my career, my dad was in the restaurant business. I'm a second generation restaurateur.
Love that.
And my dad was always good at restaurants and not good at business. And I saw that growing up as a kid. And so I dropped out of college when I was 21 to open my first restaurant. I thought I knew everything about the restaurant business. I knew nothing about the business side of the restaurants. And I had that restaurant for almost 4 years and really took it upon myself to learn the business and the discipline of business and not just being a restaurateur. And so that served me well. And as I've grown my business and my career, it's been really important that I equally love, picking out the plates and picking out the music and the design, but equally as putting together a pro forma, a P&L, a menu that works financially, labor, and all the other things that go along, because when you're successful with profit, it gives you the ability to do all the creative stuff you want. And if you don't pay attention to that, then that lack of profit drives or takes away your creativity or your ability to do things that you want to do.
Love that.
Yeah.
So how are we making money? Let's talk about
Where?
profits.
Yeah.
Let's go stick with restaurants because that was your baby. So let's go there and then we'll end up here on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I grew my business to a little over 125 restaurants. And along the way, we've had 13 different brands and we've sold a few brands along the way. I started True Food about 13 years ago and sold that. I'm completely out of that deal about 7-8 years ago. I had a fast casual pizza concept called Sauce, really early to that we sold about 10 years ago. And then most recently, we took an investment about 7 years ago into one of our Italian concepts called North. And then also Flower Child from the Cheesecake Factory. They were my partners for 3 years. And then when we were ready to hand off the project to them, we talked a little bit about what would it be like if I continued to work with them. And so we came up with a way, and we sold our whole company to the Cheesecake Factory almost 6 years ago. So I've never really worked for anybody before. I've only really worked for myself and my dad.
Yeah, how's that going?
And so it's been great. It's been, once again, I like learning and doing new things. They run a big publicly traded company, credible restaurateurs, founder-led, and they've done a really good job of growing their business around the world. And, they do a lot of revenue out of a lot of stores, and it's pretty impressive if you look at their track record and their history. And so it's been a great learning experience. They've been great partners, and we've opened up about 50 restaurants together and continuing to grow.
I love it. I have a million questions right now.
Yeah.
The least of which is you sold in 2019, which is the peak.
I sold 4 months before COVID. Like I said, hey, I'll take some stock, and their stock was trading at pretty high multiple at the time, and They're like, no, we got to make this an all cash transaction. I said, okay, so we got all the money, all the cash. And then literally, 60 days later, COVID happened. And I don't have to tell you what happened to the restaurant stocks or any sort of stocks in the world. Went down, and I would have had most of my net worth tied up in that stock. So the cash worked out pretty good, although the stock is doing really well today. I had this business that was creating and developing restaurants that can turn into more than one, so it became a concept. And so I never go and go, I'm going to build a concept, or I'm going to build more than one. Have this philosophy of just building one, and one, if works, there'll be two, and if two works, there'll be three. And so we kind of have that lens of just looking at it just like, let's make and build the best great restaurant we can. And then if we continue to grow it, then we'll really tinker with it and fine tune it and make it maybe a little bit more profitable. Maybe we spend a little less money, or maybe we spend more money, whatever that might be. And so along the way, we had sold sauce, we sold True Food, and we were getting known as an incubator of brands.
Yes.
And what we were really good at is sort of taking stores or restaurants from zero, creating, to 10, 15, or 20. And it was a lot less money for big companies to come along and buy our business than to try and create their own other brands. And so we became valuable. And so like I said, we sold we sold True Food, and we sold sauce. We technically sold North and Flower Child as well as an investment. And then what was great about that was I sold brands, but I sold my company. And meaning I'd go to work the next day like nothing happened. And like I told you, my dad wasn't great at business. My dad had great restaurants, but never really made any money. So early on, I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to make money. I'm going to take money when I sell the business and never put it back into the business. I'm going to diversify, because it's so hard to take money out of the restaurant business. And so all the money that I made, I put into other things, whether it's real estate, whether it's hotels, things like that. I wanted to diversify. And then, like I said, we sold the whole company. And that was a little unique because, I went back to work literally the next day, still like nothing happened, and my name was still on the building, but yet there was some other people that we had to agree on a lot of the decisions, which usually I wasn't good at that in the beginning, but it worked out really well.
I checked on the sale. That was a big number. It was not a small number.
Yeah, it was a decent number.
Nice for you.
Yeah.
Talk to me. How do you grow to that, though? Is it all your money? You got friends and family? You got investors?
On when we sold?
Sure. Start with that, but
go
with any of your concepts.
Yeah, I mean, early on it was friends and family. We had some investors, and then I'd say, we were 20 plus 23 years, 24 years before we sold. Yeah. So I'd say the last 10 years, it was all bank financing and cash flow. And so, I realized also that I didn't really want to work for investors and, 50% and things like that. So as we became more profitable, our balance sheet got better. Yep. We were able to borrow money at the bank. I kind of laughed the first day that someone actually lent me money in the restaurant business. And it was just, I'm like, who would lend somebody money in the restaurant? Just going back, 17, 18 years. And as we grew the business, we were able to, internally own close to 85, 90% of our business.
I'm sure you had a lot of suitors, partners that you could have partnered with, sold to, et cetera.
Yeah.
Why Cheesecake Factory when you selling your legacy? Why
I think it was in the right place at the right time. It was a very unique transaction where they made an investment in a business that I was going to hand off to them. So we were partners 3 years before that happened. And in that 3 years, I like to say those were our dating years. We got to date, really understand each other's nuances, and really got to have a lot of respect for them and how they run their business and the team that's there. And having that comfort in knowing how successful they've been and the steward they've been of their business, like I said, being founder-led and having all that it was an easy decision, and it wasn't private equity. It wasn't hedge funds. It was a company that understood the same problems that I have every single day, also has a lot of those same problems, and was really truly buying us for the right reason and to develop culture and people and grow organically and smartly and not looking at it as just a transaction. And so that's why the Cheesecake and I have became partners.
Give me some other lessons learned in the restaurant space, and then we'll switch to the hotel space.
People, number one.
Yeah.
It's everything else is irrelevant. I mean, it's important to have a great location. It's important to have great food and great hospitality. But, we build these amazing buildings. We spend a lot of money. If we don't spend time on training our team, giving them the tools to be successful, setting them up for success, when things don't go right, look at ourselves first, not them, and sort of self-identifying all the problems and taking away everyone's excuses. So we're in the people business.
because words in your mouth. You have to have the people, otherwise you can't expand.
Yeah, that's that culture. And
Mom and dad can only run
correct.
one as much as
I
they
learned
can
that
run.
from 1 to 2 to 3 really early on that I couldn't be in. From 1 to 2, I felt like I could be in 2 places at one time. When I got to my 3rd restaurant, I realized I definitely couldn't be in 2 places, or let alone 3 places at one time. So it was a little bit different. And so I learned that lesson early. And I'm fortunate that we've had dozen or so people that are in the executive team that have been with me 17, 18, 19, 20 years.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hotels. So we make a bunch of money doing restaurants.
Yeah.
And we say, let's go blow it all in a hotel.
Not all of it.
Got it.
but I've always wanted to be in the hotel business. Over the years, there's been a lot of different things that have inspired me to get into the hotel business, whether I'd stayed somewhere that was fabulous and really expensive, or stayed somewhere that was really inexpensive but yet really cool, and they figured out a way how to take something that was worth nothing and turn it into something and overcharge you for a room, whether it's a redo Motel 6 or something like that. And this is over the last 20 years. And so seeing all these different things, we could do that, equally as well. And about 15 years ago, we did a hotel deal in the Hard Rock Hotel in Vegas. We took this old Italian space right next to Nobu, and we did a culinary dropout. And they had someone kind of leading F&B, sat down with them like, oh, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And so we wind up doing the deal. They pay us a little bit of money. It's a management deal. And we get in there, and everything that they said, nothing happened. And then we start running this business, and really what was just a giant shit show of a business. Everyone is working in these silos. We had our own restaurant, and the guy next to me had his own restaurant, and the sports book was its own business, and the valet was its own business, and the hotel reservation system was its own business, and the equity was its own business, and then the spa was its own business, and everyone was working for themselves, and no one was working for a consolidated P&L, which was most importantly working for the guests and working for the employees. And so I said to myself, I'm going to get in the hotel business. I'm going to be the developer. I'm going to be the owner. I'm going to create my own brand. I'm going to operate it. And I'm going to have one P&L, and we're going to all be sort of symbiotic in how we approach our business, from the guests to the employees. And so that's why I wanted to get into the hotel business. Now, my goal was to build a kind of a smaller hotel, and I was working on a deal, and this property became available. And even this property I had 1.5 acres, and I was going to build a lot smaller of a project and a lot less expensive of a project. Obviously, in the middle of this, I sold my company and I said, shoot, I'm just going to kind of go for it. Expanded the hotel, bought another 1.5 acres. We're on 3 acres. I thought I'd spend X. We spent 3X, and but all under the idea of that we led with food and beverage. And hotel people, as well as are also really, really bad at F&B. We felt like we could solve that, and we felt like because solving F&B gave us the opportunity to be really, truly an independent. I didn't need anyone's flag. I didn't need anyone's reservation system, because in my mind, it was going to take us 1 or 2 years to ramp. But the 1 or 2 years it's taken us to ramp on the rooms. The F&B has doubled what we thought it was going to be. So we have the cash flow in the business, and we made money in our first year at really sort of a 40% occupancy.
What differentiates you between other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I really try and break it down of why things get used, and how and why people are here or why they're not here. That's also equally as important. Also, like I said before, it's just setting up the spaces to make sure that they work for the employee, they work for the team as well. But creating a space and creating an environment there is so much art to it and a lot less science. And so that art portion is what I love, that creative portion of it. Obviously, once again, I know how many trash cans and how many registers I need to have to ring up so many things, or how many, square feet I need in the kitchen per every seat within the restaurant or in the ballroom or anything like that. And so those are all statistics. And then so you put those down and you work through that. But then there's also the feel and the touch, and so, like in golf, there's people that are really good drivers that can't putt. And so having both of those disciplines and having that feel and that touch and that understanding, and having done that so many times, it's almost second nature to me. So it becomes really easy for me. And it's challenging because you work with a lot of different architects and a lot of different designers, and they're all bad at space planning. all bad. So I have to sit in these meetings all day, whether it's in the restaurants or hotels, and tell everyone their work isn't good and that we have to redo that. And I'm paying people for that as well. So that's also frustrating. And so just kind of going through the process and just, slowly think about it. And as you spend more time looking at it and working on it and being involved in all the meetings and the details, you really realize that, that door needs to be 6 inches over this way because the door's going to swing into a guest, so all those things. And so having made a lot of mistakes over the years, that I've been able to sort of capture on that, and space planning is something that I think one of my strengths.
But this is clearly a passion project. We talk about those all the time. You have to have it, right? And you clearly have the energy. You still have the passion to do all of these things.
Yeah.
So you have to, right?
Otherwise, like I said, it's just a transaction, and it's guys or gals sitting around this room saying, "Oh, we should have a coffee bar," and then they put in a coffee bar, and like, okay, well, that makes 0 sense. The flow, the price point, the times, the offerings, all those things. There's so many things that go into all these decisions that people that sit around that are running P&Ls don't really understand how to run operations.
What's your long-term ownership plan of this property? You can change your mind. You gonna own this forever? Is this like a legacy thing? You're gonna hand it down to the grandkids, or everything's for sale for a number?
I mean, today we're gonna own it forever. Yeah. But everything's for sale for the right number. Yeah. I'm not really looking to sell right now. It's I've sold once. It's been great.
Right, yeah.
It gave me the comfort and the sort of the foundation and the ability to never sell again.
Right.
So, which is great. And then now my kids are older, and we'll see what they want to do, and we'll continue to go about it one day at a time.
So many questions still. What's easier to run, hotels or restaurants?
Hotels. Yeah. Hotels. Restaurant businesses.
Hard.
We're scraping by for 15 cents, 20 cents a dollar.
Yeah.
The hotel business, everyone's getting 70 cents a dollar, and there's just a lot more room for error. In my business, in the restaurant business, there's no room for error.
Right.
No room. So if you apply those same disciplines to the hotel business, and you supply that, and then you have the hotel side of works and the restaurant side of works, it really becomes kind of magical when you really come at it from a different point of view. And I hired a hotel team to help me open up the hotel. I have an amazing managing director named Jeff Gray, who came out of a big corporation and ran a lot of different hotels. And he brought in a lot of his hotel people. And right away identified that, okay, we don't have all the right players, all good people, but not really the right players. And so we brought in a whole bunch of restaurant people. And Jeff is an amazing student, amazing learner, great teacher, great mentor. And basically sort of had to break him down for the first year and a half here. And he's made it through to the other side, and he's flourishing and doing great. And, just that we have a little bit of higher level of intensity. The restaurant business is just so difficult and so unprofitable if you don't do it right. And so when there's too many valets on, or there's too many housekeepers on, or there's why are we going through too many towels? Like all those little things on the line items on the P&L that you just need to chase down all the single time. But if you're making 75 cents on the dollar at the hotel, you're okay not only making 72 cents or 73 cents. And so we have the approach of every single department needs to make money. And last year, or this year as well, every single one of our department, our spa, our valet, our gym, our members club, our restaurants, every single place makes money.
Love it. How many outlets? How many F&B outlets?
So we have 5 F&B outlets.
Plus a spa.
Plus a spa that we own and operate ourselves, created everything in there, and designed and developed that ourselves. And we have a private members club as well.
Any idea how many employees you have on?
Yeah, 682. And I said, why can't we do it with 600? Because it seems like a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
All right, I need your thoughts. You're the restaurant guy getting into the hotel space. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
How much time do we have? I mean, you're doing a lot right. I would say, at least on our side, our leadership that came out of the hotel business are really good leaders, really good mentors. There's always a career path, it seems like, in the hotel business. In the restaurant business, it's not so black and white. I'm always believing in promoting from within and developing people and investing time and energy in people like that. So that's been incredibly great. And so that's one of the things that the hotel people are doing right. Just understanding, like I said, sense of urgency. I think hoteliers don't have a sense of urgency. There's a lot of copycats that really don't know what they're doing or really have an understanding of how to create an environment with soul and with purpose and sort of all those things. A lot of us A lot of guys in the hotel business are creating brands sitting around a boardroom like this, and they haven't been in the trenches, and they haven't been in the operations. And so they don't know operations, they don't know that. And I see it all the time because I get presented, hey, would you like to open this restaurant in this hotel? And I look at the plan, the kitchen's this big, the restaurant's this big. Oh, you got to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and room service, and this and this. But yet, here's 4 stoves, there's 1 walk-in. And so they're not setting up the operators or the employees to be able to run their business and deliver the numbers that they want. If I want to do X amount, if I want to do 50 million in food and beverage in this building, I know how many seats I need. I know what hours of operation. I know what check averages are going to be. I can tell you what every seat in this building can do. And so I designed to that. I know how big the dish station should be. And so I gave everyone here the opportunity to really be successful because we invested in the property. And so we took a very sort of top line approach to our business. And a lot of times it's hard to do that. I always say we're a bunch of restaurants that just happen to have some hotel rooms with it. So we came at it just from a pure restaurant standpoint. The room part was easy. What I've realized, and it took me a minute to figure this out, is every private equity, every family office, all these people, they want to own the real estate, they want to own hotels.
Correct.
You see these incredibly wealthy families buying up hotels and getting into the hotel space. And so, it seems like there's unlimited runway if you wanted to grow or sell or, in a capital standpoint, where go try and raise money for a restaurant. It's not so easy.
That's right.
Because it's a tangible asset. Obviously, there's land usually involved and all that.
Correct.
And so, but it's also an asset class that, high net worth individuals want to own. It's kind of funny because opening up so many restaurants, I'm kind of this, he's another Sam Fox restaurant, another Sam Fox restaurant. It's not that exciting. And, and then I look at all these like independent chefs that go open up a restaurant and get all the press and they get all the accolades because it's one and they're cool and they're in the building. And so kind of that's what happened to me again in my career is I'm like the cool guy now all of a sudden in the hotel space. And so it's come full circle where I had run this big company and now I got this one hotel. And everybody is like, oh, it's one-on-one, and it's this and this, and who did it, and all that. And so it's kind of fun to get sort of that energy going again.
You can see it in you. You're probably like this all the time.
Yeah.
But you can feel your energy. You can see your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Are there going to be, what's part of the what's next? Are there going to be more? We're going to do this again? We're going to start our own brand and then go sell it to somebody?
Yeah, there's going to be more. And we're working on what more looks like today. Nothing to sort of break any news to you today. So we would like to build a brand and, whether it's a global ambassador brand or our management company authored at it. So I'd like to do another hotel or 2 that are not a global ambassador.
Yep.
Once again, I did so many different brands and have so many high-low experiences. And so I want to create another experience like this, but maybe at a totally less of a price point.
I think that's important to know. But keep saying that because you have done every price point of restaurants.
Exactly.
You've done
from $150 check average to fast casual pizza at $10 check average.
Right.
And Flower Child, which is one of our busiest fast casual brands, and all the way up to Henry's and stuff like that. So I can see how the consumer uses the business a lot, and I want to apply that knowledge to another hotel brand as well. And what's the most important thing to me is I'm going to work on another hotel brand here in this town. So the most important thing to me is not only to develop that hotel, but then to be able to build a whole nother team. So now I have two GMs of the market and I have 2 food and beverage directors. And so when we do, and if we go on the road, then I can build around the culture of 2 places instead of trying to build my second one out of town and trying to create the same culture here. It's a lot easier when you grow from 2 to 3, you're really not, you're growing at 50%. Right. When you're growing it from 1 to 1, you're growing at 100%. And you got to really be careful on your percentages of how you grow your business, particularly early on.
So I'm not holding you to this, but you think your next hotel project will be in Phoenix?
Most likely.
Smaller, not so grandiose?
No, more rooms.
More rooms?
Yeah, 200 rooms.
Okay.
More food and beverage. More. We're going to do more.
Not less.
No, but we're just going to have a little different price point. So I think we can spend it for less. I think we can give the same sort of level of hospitality at a less of a price. So like a little luxury for less.
Give me an example of what you overspent on that no one will know.
Everything.
I believe that. Look around, everybody. Look around. We're going to walk. We're going to camera. We're going to point it out loud later.
Everything.
But, yes.
But it's working. So if it wasn't working, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. But yeah, fabrics and chairs and uniforms and training and marble and wood on the ceiling and this fixture and that there and the towels and all the stuff that's in the room. So we spent money on everything. But people notice, and we wanted to stand out in what we felt like was, it's obviously a crowded market, but those details are really important.
Yeah, one of the things we hear a lot on the brands, and you chose not to, it's fine, is the brands keep you in line and they give you some parameters, some guardrails.
Yeah. And they also make it really
some people
boring.
love that and some people hate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So it's this dilution. These big companies are buying up every brand and trying to make them the same.
Of course.
I get it. I got bought by a big company. They were smart enough to let me continue to do what I was doing and not really interfere. And so kudos to my partners at the Cheesecake Factory. But not having the founder involved, not having an operator involved, you usually get awry and kind of going in the wrong direction.
Are you a control freak?
A little bit.
It's part of how you get
I
successful.
take it very seriously that people choose to spend money in any of our businesses, including the hotel. And it kills me when it's not right and it's not perfect. And same for our employees. People stop me all the time here in Phoenix and say, my daughter works at the Henry and the training has been so good. Thank you for that job. And I'm like, that's so rewarding. And so we have this obligation, this culture of teaching sort of the next generation and teaching people and giving them a place to work that they enjoy working in, and running businesses that are profitable, but also running businesses that have soul and are sort of scratching my itch of what I want to do right now.
You talk a lot about feeling and soul in business, in buildings. How do you implement that? Like, why is there so much emotion?
Those are words that are hard to sort of articulate. It's like culture. What's culture? I don't like to speak to culture. I like to demonstrate culture. And I would say, when you're trying to develop a sense of place that has some soul to it, as you mentioned, you can't manufacture that. And that's where 95% of the people in this space can't get to really that soulful place.
Yeah.
And it's a just different skill set. It's just a different path. It's a different philosophy. Doesn't always work. And so it's, it's a little bit of, magic. It's that, it's that last 5-10% that makes the difference between being good and great, is really that last 10%. And so if you know how to deliver that, or how to develop to that, or manage to that, or how to create to that, I think that's what sort of would separate myself from maybe somebody else. There's other people that do what I do out there all the time as well, but probably far and few between.
What do you think is your secret sauce? Why are all these people following you?
Because we're just taking a different path right now. Like I said, I don't know if they were all following me in the restaurant business when we had 150 restaurants, but like I said, one-on-one, they're definitely taking a look at it, and it's getting noticed by a lot of people. We get a lot of calls every week, and so it's really interesting. And so, but we're focused on, having a great night tonight here in the hotel. And that's really the most important thing. It's easy to get caught up in like, oh, you're great, and what's next, and what's next, and what's next, what's next? Great dinner in Le May tonight, great spa services, your room was cleaned properly. And so there's no next if we don't do any of that right today. Today is the most important thing, not tomorrow. And so everything is about running great businesses today, and then tomorrow takes care of itself. But if you don't run a great business today, tomorrow's irrelevant, because it's not going to be good because you're cleaning up the mess from the day before,
And then no one comes back.
Yeah, and by the way, we're not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes here, but we're pretty good at learning and sort of evolving from our mistakes. We have as many warts and errors as anybody, but we're able to overcome a lot of that just based on just trying to get better every single day.
Are you okay with not having a brand partner?
Yeah. Why would I pay someone to do that when I can do it better? Makes no sense.
Yeah, you can.
So, I think the model needs to get torn up a little bit.
Or all these developments that we see, it's no longer sort of just the 100-room cookie cutter. It's these, and these are complicated projects.
We have a very, we come from very creative, even all of our restaurants are all different. They look different, even though there's some of the same brands. And so, we're really good at taking space, taking an area, taking, a parcel, and really creating something that we think works. So I think that'll be the strength of our organization.
Yeah, and they'll come see that. Then everyone in your organization sees that through you. You're the leader, so they're watching it trickle through there.
Yeah. We've had every hotelier walk through this place in the last 18 months. And I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of great ideas out of here. If they don't go about it the right way, they're not going to get to where they want to go. And it's just going to be more of the same, So
it's not that easy.
It'd be really interesting to see all these different brands trying to do different things, like how that really plays out.
All right, give me 30 seconds on this hotel and this project. What we're going to see. What are some of the nuances we should be paying attention to that we're going to see?
I mean, it was great. We had a great parcel. We had almost 3 acres. We're 200,000 square feet ground up development. That's part of the buying the land, designing, part of the development process, construction meetings and all that. So you're going to see a lot of detail, a lot of attention to detail, a lot of things that, once again, that maybe a smart hotelier wouldn't spend money on, and we wound up spending money on. You're going to see the infrastructure that is really set up to do the volume that we want to do. You'll see the kitchens. You'll see the details in the room. Everything in there was, handpicked by myself and our team, and whether it's the water pressure, whether it's the Philip Jeffries wallpaper, whether it's the mini bar, whether it's the beds that we had, over an 8-month period, they'd drop a mattress off every 2 weeks at my house. My wife and I would argue about which mattress we should buy. So just a lot of details, and hopefully that's what people pick up.
You got kids?
I have kids. I have 2 kids at college in Dallas at SMU.
You see them in the business?
It's kind of funny because my son, they're both in the business school. My son wanted to get in finance. He did an internship this summer at BDT and MSD. And MSD, as you know, owns a whole bunch of hotels and stuff like that. And he's working in that department. So all of a sudden he's a hotel expert, and he's on his 10-week internship. And he's texted me the other day, "Hey Dad, can you send me the P&L for the hotel? I want to practice sort of my modeling and stuff like that."
Love it.
And
Love
so, yes, I wouldn't mind my children being in the business. Less in operations. Operations is a whole nother different thing. Maybe more on the business side of things and the development side of things. But operations is tough. Like, I would never want my kids in the restaurant business as owner-operator. Hey, they've worked in the restaurant. I have no problem with anyone working in the restaurant, but it's a difficult business, and it's changing and it's harder. Business has always changed over the years, but it just, it just continues to get harder and harder and harder.
So if it tracks, amen, we agree. But we've seen it so much in this industry, it's why we love it. I'm second generation, right?
Yeah.
And we've got second generation, we're getting a third generation, and everyone's now like, well, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna put you second generation. And I think my answer is they always improve on what Dad did.
Hopefully.
So your dad did 1, you did 150.
Yeah.
Your kids will come start a private equity firm that owns and buys restaurants and hotels.
Let's hope so.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just where, or
I'd like
they're
somebody
going
else
to
to pay the bill once in a while.
They'll get there.
Yeah.
Take them longer than you think, but they're going to get there.
Yeah.
What advice do you think you'd give your younger self or the next generation coming through here, or your kids, pick whoever it is?
I would say continue to have a thirst for knowledge. And when you're successful, wake up every day like you're not successful. Be scared. I'm scared even today. I'm scared that someone's going to have a bad experience, and whether it's at our restaurants or our hotels. So just sort of not taking granted what sort of is in front of you. That could go away at any time and at any moment. And so be in that moment, live in that moment, and be thankful for where you sit. And so that's kind of what I would tell myself. And but overall, it's just really wanting to learn more and understanding more. And the more I understand, for me, it's all data points. I travel, I eat out, I talk to people, we're having this conversation. These are all things, and I make a lot of decisions on a daily basis in my company, a lot. And so over the years, making all those decisions, I need to rely on all of these touch points that I have that help me be more informed. And all the real life experiences that I have, you can never replace that for college or graduate school or business school. And so having real life experiences, being able to make a lot of decisions, make mistakes, but also learn from those mistakes along the way, and pay attention to all the little things because they do matter. Today, in an environment where things are sort of a lot of the same, how do you stand out and how can you be different than everybody?
Sam, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for letting us barge in.
Thank you.
On you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can't wait to your next project to go see what that is and when that comes out.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to go walk this and have you show us around.
Great. Look forward to it.